Hey y'all, I am back with a video natal chart reading for Marcus. So, Marcus, I hope you're doing well. This is all about you. So, let's get into it. So, here is Marcus driving a car at the tender age of, I don't know how old you were right here. It looked like you were about maybe like 3 or 4, but so adorable. And I'm wondering if people can guess his rising sign just by looking at this picture right here. But you'll find out in just a minute. But Marcus ordered a video natal chart reading and he asked me to upload it to YouTube after he saw me do the other video natal chart reading that I posted. I guess that would be like maybe a couple of months ago for Matt. So he saw that one and he was like, oh, and he had already ordered one, but he was like, oh, can you upload mine to YouTube too? So I was like, yeah, definitely. So Marcus has a very interesting chart and it totally fits you to a T, Marcus. Like everything you talked about, I can clearly identify in your chart. And the thing I love about your chart, which we're going to get into in a minute, is the fact that it's pretty straightforward in terms of your purpose. And a big reason for that is that you are a Pisces rising, 16th degree of Pisces, mind you, which reinforces that Pisces energy. So a lot of what you already discussed with me is very Pisces. So that Pisces theme is very dominant in your life because it's your rising sign. And that Pisces rising, especially 16th degree, that corresponds with your life path number of 7. So you're a 2 in terms of birth number, and your life path number is 7, and that fits that Pisces energy. Let me see where 2 lines up in your chart if you have any 2s. So you have the 29th degree of Aries on the second house cusp. That breaks down to 2. See what else you have. And then, of course, the 8th house cusp, 29 degrees Libra, that breaks down to 2. So your second house and your 8th house is reflecting your birth number energy, but in a more discordant way, which I'll get into in a minute. But yeah, that's the only 2 I can see that reflects your birth number. All right. So let's get into some main factors of your chart. So this is a pie chart dealing with the elements. So as you can see, that red part is fire. So it's showing you have a high degree of fire energy in your chart. Next, you have water. Actually, water and air are pretty equal. Let me see what that score is. So water is given, yeah, they're both equal at 22% each. And then you have earth being the least amount of energy in your chart. As you can see with this brown little segment right here. So fire is the most dominant in your chart, and that's dealing with your sun, Mercury, and Venus in Leo. You have Jupiter in Sagittarius and your midheaven in Sagittarius. And then with the air, that would be your moon and Mars in Libra. And then for the earth, you have your Uranus, Neptune in Capricorn, Chiron in Virgo, and the South Node in Taurus. And then for, which one did I miss? Water, you got Saturn in Pisces, Pluto in Scorpio, North Node in Scorpio, and your Ascendant is in Pisces. So again, you got that high degree of fire in your chart. So it's mainly coming from this Leo stellium, but also Jupiter in Sagittarius. Here's Juno up here. You also got Juno in Sagittarius. That could deal with a long distance relationship. It can also deal with an interracial relationship or a relationship with someone who is of a different nationality. Ninth house placement reinforces that the themes of Sagittarius. So long distance relationship, relationship that is dealing with interracial, relations, international relations, what have you. You could do a lot of traveling with your partner, with it Juno being a Sagittarius in the ninth house. But there could be issues with truth and freedom as well. Freedom is a major theme in your chart because Jupiter is the co-ruler of your chart, because it's co-ruler of Pisces, and it's in Sagittarius in the ninth house. So keep that thought in mind. Next, we have the modalities. So cardinal is energy that's very much about, going out and getting it, very much about initiating things. They are the forerunners of things, and they begin the seasons. So with that cardinal energy, you got the moon, Mars, Uranus, and Neptune. So the cardinal is represented by the green segment. Then you got, for fixed, you got your sun, Mercury, and Venus. Those are in Leo. Pluto in North Node in Scorpio, and the South Node in Taurus. And the fixed is represented by the purple. And then for mutable, you got Jupiter, Saturn, Chiron, Ascendant, and the Midheaven. Mutable is yellow. As you can see, it looks like mutable is a bit more than anything else, but it is a healthy balance. It's pretty balanced. So that's actually good that you have a nice balance of the modalities. The houses. So houses are broken down into angular, succeedant, and cadent. And the houses are very much like the modalities. So with the houses, the angular are like the cardinal signs, succeedant are like the fixed, and the cadent are like the mutable. So as you can see, you got a nice healthy dose or blend of these houses. So the green is the cadent, or I would like to say maybe chartreuse. Is that what you would call that color? So with the cadent, you got your sun and Mercury, that's in your sixth house. Jupiter's in your ninth house. And then with the succeedant, you got Venus, Uranus, and Neptune. Venus is in your fifth house. Uranus and Neptune's in your 11th. Pluto, North Node's in your 8th. And the South Node's in your 2nd. And then for the angular, those are the most impactful houses. You have the moon and Mars in the 7th house, Saturn's in the 1st, and Chiron's in the 7th. So again, you have a nice blend of the house modalities. Now, in terms of chart shapes, you have a locomotive chart shape with Venus as the lead planet. So that means that Venus, which is in Leo, is a predominant force in your life. It is a driving force in your life, which makes a lot of sense considering your interests and considering your talents and skills. And Venus in Leo, that's very much about fame. So herein lies the problem, because with that Venus and Leo, you want to be a star, you want to be famous for something that you do well. And you did mention acting and singing, and also you said acting, singing, and what else? Maybe I'll get to that. But basically, you want to be a performer. So, oh, modeling, that's what it was. Now, Pisces rising is great for modeling, but acting, singing, modeling, basically, all of that entails some degree of fame. So, in order to become famous, you have two options. Either you work hard to become famous, or you just connect yourself with the right people. And if you get lucky, you can end up becoming famous that way. But either way, it's going to take some effort. It's going to take some drive, initiative, and self-determination on your part. in sweat. All right, so again, here's your chart again. Here's Venus. Venus is the driving force in your chart because you have that locomotive chart shape, and Venus is the conductor, you could say, or Venus is that front of the train, and it's bringing up all these other planets. So you really have to put some work in order to get to that level of fame that you strive to get to. So let's get started with your chart. The ascendant. So the ascendant is at the 16th degree of Pisces, and I call that the glamorous life versus the struggle life. So the choice is yours. The 16th degree augments the themes of Pisces, albeit in a more challenging way. It echoes your 7 life path number. The 16th degree can bring all sorts of misfortunes, from illness to injuries. It is a degree of misfortune and catastrophe. However, it is great for a career within the arts. So all of the aspirations that you have, modeling, acting, singing, comes into play with that. And like I said, modeling in particular, that's very Pisces. Singing and acting falls under Pisces as well. Your aspiration of creating an organic skin and hair care line applies as well. Pisces deals with cosmetics and also things like lotions and things that like soothe and provide relief. Also, it makes you extremely empathic, compassionate, and sympathetic. And I saw that within you already. So again, you definitely are a gentle and kind soul with that Pisces rising, and a lot are. Now, you're also very much about glitz, glamour, cosmetics, and fragrances. You are warm, friendly, and gentle, and you're very much about the magical and mystical. Like your everyday life could be full of the magical and mystical. Spirituality is at the forefront of your life. If it's not, it should be. Sensitivity, so you have both psychic and physical sensitivity. Fluidity, so you have that fluidity going on. You being a Pisces rising at the 16th degree is very much about your fluidity, but we'll get into that in a minute. Metamorphosis, so you can assume different identities and characters, and that makes for a great actor. Chameleon is basically the same thing. Now with you though, or I'll say a lot of people with Pisces rising, people can't ever be sure of who you really are, what they're going to get with you. Now, also as a Pisces rising, especially with the 16th degree, you could confuse some people and you could bewilder some people. Immersion. So Pisces can become deeply immersed in whatever they have an interest in. And that can be at the expense of other things in your life, such as things that are, dealing with responsibilities and things. So you can easily lose track of time by becoming immersed in an interest that you have. Maintaining proper boundaries is important as a Pisces rising. Vulnerability. So all Pisces risings carry this vulnerability with them. And basically you're a mark. You are a mark for people who are out to get you, people who are out to con or scam you, or even victimize you in some other type of way. So you just have this air of vulnerability being a Pisces rising, which is why you always need to be careful of who you associate with and where you go. Also, you need some form of spiritual protection too. And that's why I was saying spiritual should be, or the spiritual side of life should be at the forefront of your life. Vulnerability leads to voluntary isolation. So that isolation theme that comes with Pisces does stem from the vulnerability aspect of Pisces. So when Pisces begins to feel very vulnerable, they will isolate themselves from family, friends, the world. Now, Your feet are vulnerable to disorders and injuries. Also, you could experience problems with your lymphatic system, like your lymph nodes could get swollen when you get sick, or they could get clogged up. Swelling or numbness could be a problem at times. Issues with certain chemicals or dyes, i.e., allergies. So you may have found that, using certain products doesn't really work with your chemical composition. So you might end up breaking out in a rash or whatever like that. That could be one of the reasons why you're very much about organic products. Spiritual protection is important, so I already mentioned that. Dreaming, fantasizing, that's a major theme in your life. Now, at times, your outlook could be distorted. You could be too idealistic at times. And also, you could easily become disappointed in yourself and others. You could also experience challenges with coping with the harsh realities of life. Escapism is the result. Also, as a Pisces rising, you're very impressionable. And at times, you could experience a sense of oblivion from time to time. Passivity and reluctance could be a problem at times, mainly due to a fear of failure. Also, it could just be due to sheer laziness too sometimes. Now, your ascendant is in quincunx with Mercury, and this is one of the main aspects that explains why you've never been in a relationship, since Mercury rules the seventh house. Passivity is the problem. But still, I was like, you're still fairly young, so you got plenty of time to enter into a relationship. And I'll be the first one to tell you that relationships are a piece of work. I don't care how much you are in love with the person, you'll find out quickly that relationships can be hella stressful. So, being single right now, you better enjoy your single life. Shoot. Now, you can attract a partner who is in need of help or who is broken in some way. You could become this partner's savior. So, Pisces can have a savior complex. And with Mercury being in quincunx to the ascendant, you could attract a man that is very much about, always needing your help, needing you to be his savior and all this stuff. Difficulty in realizing your visions in the practical sense. Challenges with becoming an actor, getting rejected at auditions. So with this aspect, you got to be willing to be rejected over and over again. But, any actor will tell you that. And this aspect can deal with being rejected over and over again. Mercury is in Leo. Leo deals with acting. Being on behind the scenes versus on center stage. So you got to make that choice. Do you want to be behind the scenes or center stage? Pisces is very much about behind the scenes, but with your Mercury and Leo, you want to be on center stage. So you got to figure out which one it's going to be. And you need to figure it out quick so you can embark upon the path of your destined career. Dissolution of masculine energy, confusing people with your feminine look and masculine name. Now, some of you people that are watching this may not, well, I'm sure a lot of you people do not know what Marcus looks like, but Marcus has an androgynous look. So Marcus is a man, but he looks more feminine than masculine. So with that Pisces rising, being in quincunx to Mercury and Leo, Leo is a masculine sign, very masculine. And Pisces is a sign of dissolution. It dissolves things. So that's like the dissolving of your masculine energy, and where you confuse people with your feminine look, but your masculine name. So I know some people be doing a double take. Now I don't know what your voice sounds like, but hopefully we'll find out soon through a phone reading, which you're going to be getting as a follow-up. But yeah, but you do have more of a feminine look. Now, you really didn't when you were young, but in those pictures you sent me, you as an adult, you have more of a feminine look than masculine. But you could still tell you're a man. Now, the ascendant is conjoined to Saturn, And that can deal with having good bone structure, which you do. I think I did compliment you on that. I think I was like, oh, you got that good bone structure. And also you got that good skin too. That's very Ascendant conjunct Saturn, because Saturn's in Pisces. That's like you know, using all these creams and lotions on your skin all butter soft and smooth and silky. Statuesque. So Saturn being conjoined to the Ascendant, especially when in Pisces, can cause you to be statuesque. And Pisces is the sign of modeling, like I said. So you do have some qualities of a model. Good for modeling. It can result in having poise. Also patience, self-discipline. This is a good placement for an entrepreneur, especially someone who is working within the field of the arts or the field of healing, or dealing with like a charity or nonprofit organization, or making some type of products like lotions and oils and potions and all that good stuff. Also, with this, you can be a perfectionist with respect to your hair, makeup, and clothing. Now, this also can manifest as a business or professional name. Your name can become part of your brand, with Saturn being conjoined to the Ascendant. Also, you may bear a close resemblance to your father. You may inherit some of his mannerisms and demeanor. Now, the Ascendant is squaring the Midheaven. Now, that can deal with jobs that don't allow you to be yourself. This is actually an aspect that is commonly found in natal charts, because those two house cuts, they just naturally square each other, but sometimes it's not going to be the case. But in your case, it is. Having to subdue your personality in order to fit in at work. Overbearing bosses or supervisors. Oh, and your midheavens in Sagittarius. So that's where the overbearing is coming from. Overbearing mother. And you already told me you have an overbearing mother. So that's one of the aspects that represents her being overbearing, especially because you're a Pisces. And I gotta admit, Sagittarius trumps Pisces in terms of wit and in terms of the ability to intimidate and be overbearing. Sagittarius can be overbearing. Secrets could be outed, so you got to watch who you confide in, especially when it comes to your professional relationships. The truth versus the lie, that could be a theme in your life. Ethical and moral dilemmas in terms of your professional life, and that's because the Sagittarius midheaven can deal with ethical and moral dilemmas. Being the fall guy or being thrown under the bus in work situations. Challenges with manifesting your visions in reality. So this is one of your main problems right here, because Pisces can cause you to be very passive. Pisces can have you be all about the vision and not about having enough faith to actually see it through. So you got to really try to work against this aspect, and you got other aspects. So you that was one of your questions. You was like, what is in my chart that can prevent me from becoming successful and achieving your dreams? So this is one of the aspects right here. So you really got to try to get on like a schedule. And the crazy thing is, Sagittarius is not really about schedules, but I'm thinking more so your Chiron and Virgo and how that can help you out. So it would help to get on a schedule in terms of what you're doing to pursue your aspirations, Sagittarius's aspirations. And with Pisces, Pisces can sometimes want to take the easy way out or take a shortcut to success. And that's not going to be the case in your like that's not going to work. So if you really want to make it to the top in terms of whatever field you're going to embark upon, whether it's acting, modeling, singing, or all three, or doing the organic hair and skincare products, then you got to really be about putting in that work, and you got to have faith. Lacking direction. I have to admit, the Sagittarius midheaven is not easy. because it's such a broad sign. So you'll have a lot of people that have that midheaven where it's like they would like to do a lot of things, but it's hard for them to pin one thing down in particular. So lacking direction with the ascendant square in the midheaven, that's very much possible. Issues with self-promotion. So Pisces can be very self-deprecating, so it's not really a sign that's conducive to promotion. Sagittarius is all about promotion. So that could be a problem as well. And well, you already told me about one issue in particular, which is going to come up in a minute. Now, your ascendant is running parallel to the asteroid Arachne. If you saw that latest video I did with Jada Pinkett, I was talking about Arachne because she has Mars conjoined to Arachne. Mars and her North Node conjoined to Arachne. And I was saying that's why she used the word entanglement. So you have the ability to get into a few entanglements yourself. Huh? So yeah, that entanglement is a major theme in your life. So again, you got to be very careful of who you become involved with. Wait a minute, let me see. So Arachne's at the 28th degree of Virgo, and that is in your 7th house. So that could deal with an entanglement involving somebody that you are romantically involved with. And, you might even meet this person at work or through your line of work. And next thing you know, you find out this person's crazy and they're one of those broken people. Because remember, I told you could attract those broken people. And next thing you know, you can't find your way out of this situation for a long while. Now, there are some good things about this. So you could be part of a network of artistic individuals or a guild, like the Screen Actors Guild, because Arachne can also deal with being part of a network. Getting caught up in a web of lies, deceit, and this could be work related since Arachne is in Virgo. Getting caught up in a partner's issues, over sympathizing with a partner. Finding it hard to disentangle yourself. See what I mean? Entanglement. Finding it hard to disentangle yourself from an unhealthy relationship. The ascendant is opposing the asteroid Ceres. And this is part of the reason why you've never been in a relationship and is dealing with abandonment issues. It can also result in attracting a partner who has abandonment issues, and he could start acting out as a result. Where you going? How come you didn't call me? What you been doing? Calling you every 10 minutes, acting a fool. The ascendant is running contraparallel to Hera. Now, Hera is an asteroid that can deal with a jealous or vengeful person. So with this, you could attract a jealous and vengeful partner. And this person could even resort to putting spells on you. And that's because Hera is at the 25th degree of Virgo, so they might be a little skilled in that area. So again, you gotta be careful, especially because you're a Pisces rising, which means you're very susceptible to spells. Like people put a spell on you, and nowadays people are all into that type of stuff. So you gotta be careful now that people in general gotta be careful nowadays about this stuff. I was saying years ago, I was like when the spell casting started to become real popular, I was like, people don't know what they're getting into. Some of these people and I was mainly talking about the people that be summoning demons and stuff, because that's rose in popularity as well. The ascendant is opposing the asteroid Orpheus. Now, Orpheus can be indicative of music. So it's good for singing, music, and you could attract a musician as a partner. However, Orpheus does have a death theme, so that could manifest as the death of a partner. The ascendant is conjoined to the Arabic part of land journeys, and this could manifest as a long train ride or a bus ride, car trips, a long distance relocation via car. So here's your chart again. Here you are with the Pisces rising. So we're about to get into your chart rulers now that we covered that Pisces rising and what it can do and how it influences your life. So we're going to get into the chart rulers. We have, let me get my little drawing tool. So you have two chart rulers, being as though you're a Pisces rising. So you have Neptune, which rules Pisces. So Neptune is your chart ruler. And then you also have Jupiter. Jupiter is also your chart ruler because both of these planets rule Pisces. So Jupiter is in Sagittarius. And as you can see, that S means it's stationary, which is compounding that energy of Jupiter in Sagittarius and the fact that it's in the ninth house. That is very strong, dominant energy. So that's actually winning out over that Neptune. So Neptune's in Capricorn in the 11th house, but this is really good for career. It's really this Jupiter that can mess you up, that could have you just all head in the clouds, being full of aspiration, but not really put in the work in required to make it happen. But at the same time, you do have these trines leading from Jupiter to the Sun and Venus, which is really good if you put some work in. Because the thing with trines is it can set you up, but you got to show up and do the work to activate those trines to make them really beneficial in your life. Like they could benefit you, period, but in the bare minimum sense until you start putting some work in. But that Jupiter in Sagittarius, it can really make you like what do they call that? I forget what they call that, but it's like where you just are a big dreamer and you really don't manifest your dreams because you're really not willing to take the time to put forth the work and to really buckle down. And then when the going gets rough, it's real easy for you to give up. So keep in mind that that Jupiter, while it can bless you in a number of ways, it can also trip you up by making you too carefree, basically, and too much about delaying things. Procrastination is a big theme of that Jupiter in Sagittarius. The good thing is it's in good shape in terms of aspects. It's not making any challenging aspects in terms of planets or the ascendant or midheaven. So that's a blessing. All right, so let's move on. So Jupiter, again, is one of your chart rulers. It's in Sagittarius in the ninth house. It's at the 5th degree of Sagittarius and is stationary. And again, it's the co-ruler of your chart. Stationary, meaning energy is compounded and internalized. So that's another problem, which can lead to stagnation and procrastination. The 5th degree of Sagittarius, that can produce a broad range of knowledge, optimistic thinking. It can result in being well read. It can result in having great communication skills, and you could be a great conversationalist. You could be an intellectual snob. Also, Jupiter at the 5th degree of Sagittarius is very much about big ideas, big dreams, and car trips are a possible manifestation. Also, this placement of Jupiter in Sagittarius as your chart ruler produces that exotic look that you have. It results in being biracial or of mixed race. So you asked me, was there anything in your chart that points to you being biracial or of mixed race? Well, here it is right here. You got your chart ruler in the ninth house in Sagittarius, and it's Jupiter. This also brings forth a multicultural theme. Now, life needs to be extraordinary when Jupiter in Sagittarius is your chart ruler. So you're not built for an ordinary life. So if you try to have an ordinary life, you're going to be very unhappy and unfulfilled. This can make you a dreamer. And again, you could be dreaming, dream, 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 dream. You could be doing all this dreaming, but not putting forth the work. And that's where Capricorn comes in. So it's good that your other chart ruler is in Capricorn, because that's where you're really going to have to, make that energy work in your favor. But it is Neptune, and Neptune is not really conducive to hard work. So this can also make you an idealist. So it reinforces the idealism of a Pisces rising. And it puts you on a quest for knowledge of self. And a spiritually centered life is best. So this reinforces what I said about that Pisces rising. Also, this can result in being a traveler. Life should be about adventure and learning experiences. And when you take it from that approach, you won't be too disappointed in life and in yourself. So you got to learn not to be too hard on yourself. And one of the ways you do that is to not have too high of expectations of yourself and of others. Because at the end of the day, life is a test. And actually, life has many tests. And we're going to fail some of them. But it's all about learning. Now, also, you could give people the benefit of the doubt too readily. Shooting for the stars, that's very much Jupiter and Sag in the ninth house. Procrastination could be a problem at times, like I mentioned. And sometimes dreaming about success is enough, resulting in a failure to manifest your aspirations. Doesn't it mean something like shooting fishes or something like that? Like that saying? I can't remember, but it deals with like just dreaming and not making your dreams become a reality. Now, I'm taking this quote from the Bible because Jupiter in the ninth house in Sagittarius is very religious. So when I was looking at your chart, this passage from the Bible came to mind. Now it says, what does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith, but does not have works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, depart in peace, be warmed and filled, but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body, what does it profit? Thus, also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. Should I read that again? Because that is deep. And again, I'm not religious, but there's some passages in the Bible that, like, they're on point. So I'm going to read this again because basically this is about having faith, but where you have to put forth the work. And you have to keep telling yourself this. So if you have to go back and reread this passage, that's what you need to do to get off your rusty dusty and make some things happen, to make some of your dreams come true. Because you admitted that you haven't been working towards making your dreams come true. And pretty soon you're not going to be a young spring chicken. So I believe you're 24. So life starts to really speed up after 25. Just wait and see. And then when you hit that Saturn return, it might actually take your Saturn return for you to really, get your ass in gear. And I'm going to show you some tough love in this reading too, because I feel like you need a little tough love. You're going to have to, it might take that Saturn return for you to really, get it, and for you to really make some things happen in your life according to your destiny and your purpose. Now I'm going to read this once again because I want this ingrained in your heart and in your mind. What does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, depart in peace, be warmed and filled, but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body, what does it profit? Thus, also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. And that's from James chapter 2, verse 14 through 26, from the New King James Version, Holy Bible. Take it or leave it. But again, if you start to get discouraged, if you start to lose faith, or you start to lose momentum in the work that comes after faith. See, faith is Sagittarius, the work is Capricorn. So when you start to lose momentum, when you have to put in that work, you need to come back and read this again. Now, Jupiter in the ninth house can make it hard to maintain commitments, especially when in Sagittarius. It can result in being very free-spirited. Now, at some point in your life, you may be facing a serious legal case, and this makes you a truth seeker. Also, it means that you're very generous and kind-hearted, laid back, and this can cause you to be too laid back. especially because Jupiter is stationary. Also, this can result in being clumsy. And sometimes you could be filled with righteous indignation, especially over injustices. Now, I don't know if you've done a lot of flying, but with this, you could encounter issues at airports, could encounter issues through international travel, like customs, or even just getting caught up in some crazy. You gotta have some of these foreign countries, they be wilding out every chance they get. America's getting like that too, just so you know. And with the South Node in Sagittarius right now, we all gotta just be careful during our travels, and they're gonna be restricting travel a lot pretty soon. So you might have a thirst for travel, but I would say, cool your heels right now, because that South Node in Sagittarius, y'all travel internationally, you might get caught up in a country, you might get stuck there. They might be like, we shut the borders down now, you can't get out until we open them back up. I'm just saying, y'all be careful, even when it comes to traveling state to state. I know I'm not getting on no damn plane until that South Node leaves Sagittarius. That's all I know. Out of state travel could be problematic as well. So, like driving on interstate, you could get pulled over quite a bit. Them cops always like to get you on those interstate because that's where people be flying. Now, this is a very beautiful aspect. I have it too in my chart. Sun trine Jupiter. So your sun is in Leo, Jupiter is in Sagittarius. This is a very blessed aspect, especially when Jupiter is your chart ruler. So this is a blessed aspect, fortunate, can produce a good life and a full life. But again, remember I said you got to activate these trines. They're good on their own. They could bless you with natural talents, gifts, and abilities, but you got to kick it up a few notches, like bam, like Emerald. So you might be too young to remember Emerald Lagasse from the Food Network, but you got to kick it up a few notches by putting in the work. And that's why your sun is in the 6th house. So this also produces a well-rounded individual. It can produce a fountain of knowledge, or where you are a fountain of knowledge, a lovable personality, star quality. So this is a star quality aspect because the sun is in Leo. I'm smiling because I love this aspect, especially in your chart, because you got that Leo sun. Attaining some degree of fame, being loved by many. Popularity. So this can result in becoming popular. This is one of your best aspects here. Bringing joy or knowledge to others. Being funny, humorous, comedic. So you might be a natural comedian. Abundance and wealth are yours to claim. So you have that ability. Now, I want to talk because I'm doing pretty good now, but I'm still waiting to get my riches. I'm still waiting to become that millionaire. I don't even know at this point, the way they're tearing up the economy, how things are going to go now, but I don't know. But I'll say with each year, my life has become more abundant. I will say that. So you can have that same effect. You can even do better than I can because you got your sun in Leo and Jupiter's in Sagittarius. See, my Jupiter's in Aries and my sun is in Sagittarius. But that Jupiter in Sagittarius is much better on the wealth creation end than my Jupiter in Aries. Spiritual enrichment. So you could have a spiritually enriched life with this try. I definitely do. Also, this can make you very intuitive. Venus trine Jupiter. This is another blessed aspect. Oh my God. Now, if I had this aspect in my chart, I would be a millionaire already. Hello. But unfortunately, I don't have this aspect in my chart. So this is very much about marrying up, or you have the possibility, there's a possibility that you can marry up. Long distance love affair is possible. Also, this makes you highly creative and where you can produce eclectic designs or make eclectic designs. Good for being a performer. It can result in being world renowned even. It's good for acting. It's a wealth aspect. It's good for sales, marketing, and promotions. So this deals with you being a sales advisor at H&M. That fits you so well. Good for hosting parties. I would go to the I don't know if you got a commissions at H&M, but I'd be at that counter talking about Marcus help me. They'd be like, I buy Marcus help me. I'd be making sure you got that commission, even if you didn't help me. They'd be like, man, they don't. Our sales staff doesn't get commission. I'd be like, well, you better give him a bonus. Good for hosting parties, meeting celebrities. So you might meet some celebrities at some point in your life. And if you're going to be an actor, of course, or even a singer. Now I'm wondering how good your singing talent is. Now you got that Venus in Leo, trine Jupiter. That can deal with having a big voice. But I'm wondering, you know, how good that voice is. So let me know. Meeting celebrities, investment income is possible. Also, you could get money via the lottery and gambling. So again, I wish I had this aspect because again, your Venus is not just in Leo, it's in the 5th house. You couldn't ask for nothing better. And then Jupiter's in the 9th. You couldn't ask for nothing better in terms of winning the lottery. Like that's a lottery winning aspect for real because of the signs involved in particular. Now, I'm not saying like break your bank every month. Hell, you could have a $5 lottery budget every month and still come out on top at the end of the year. Like, you know, and it could be, when I say winning a lottery, it could be a pick 3 that you win a few times out the year, or you could go for the big, the big slice of the pie, which is like that. I wouldn't recommend Mega Millions or Powerball unless you're going for the lower prizes. But like a state lottery, yeah, like the pick 6. As you can see, I'm a lottery nut. Oh my god! All right, Mars sextile Jupiter. This is a really good aspect. This is a sexy ass aspect. I love it. This is like finding the perfect match or ideal partner. In your case, especially because you're a man that's into men. So if this was a woman's chart, I would tell her the same thing. If it was a straight man's chart, I wouldn't say that because we're talking about Mars. Unless Jupiter was in the 7th house, then that'd be different. Finding the perfect match or ideal partner, finding a partner through a matchmaking service, and actually your Mars is in the 7th house. So that could apply to a heterosexual male finding the ideal mate. Finding a partner through a matchmaking service or one of those dating sites or whatever, that might be what you have to do in order to force yourself to meet people. Finding a partner through a meetup event or singles retreat, I'm sorry, that sounds corny as hell, that singles retreat, but hey, they exist, so it might happen. A long distance relationship, attracting a benefactor, that's always nice. Spiritual counseling, retaining a good attorney, being victorious in a court case, being a promoter, public relations, or publicist. Jupiter is running parallel to Uranus, and that deals with you being androgynous. It produces a unisexual look, and that can deal with you being out and proud, because Jupiter, again, is one of your chart rulers. And Jupiter in Sagittarius, 9th house, that's very much about being out. Produces an interest in astrology. Jupiter parallel Neptune. This is the fluidity. So this is you having that gender fluidity going on. It also makes you empathic and highly sensitive. Learning via videos, like on YouTube, because Neptune rules videos, Neptune rules YouTube, and Jupiter is learning. So you might increase your knowledge tremendously just by watching videos. Also, this can result in being easily disappointed or jaded with life. That's especially if you're not out accomplishing stuff, making strides. Jupiter is opposing the asteroid Phaethon. Now, this puts you at risk for a car accident, especially with Phaethon being in Gemini, but it could also result in a nice insurance settlement as a result of the accident. This also deals with your father too, because Phaethon, that mythology does, the father does come into play, and you did mention that, you know, he's a decent father, but y'all aren't really close, so that could deal with that too. And you may feel like he doesn't really trust your judgment with this aspect. And that could be true with his side of the family in general. Jupiter is conjoined to the fixed star Marfique, and this can deal with being passionate, but blindly good-hearted or good-hearted to a fault, and easily seduced. Also, it can deal with using herbs for healing effects and therapeutic benefits. So there you go with the organic hair and skincare line. Neptune is your other chart ruler that's in Capricorn, and it's in the 11th house. Neptune's at the 23rd degree of Capricorn. That 23rd degree of Capricorn can deal with being highly favored in terms of your professional life, especially if you embark upon a career within the arts or healing or spirituality, anything Neptune related. It also points to multicultural and interracial background, or you could say even dealing with the father. Refined speech, personal development, honoring your ancestors. So remember I said spirituality needs to be at the center of your life. Well, that could be one of the ways that it is. Having an altar set up in your home and honoring your ancestors, and they could protect you. Having a world view. Neptune in Capricorn brings the mystical into everyday reality, and it results in being naturally geared for careers that involve the paranormal and spirit world if you wanted to go that route as well. Subjects like astrology, numerology, tarot, and palm reading are rather commonplace and generally accepted as valid by the Neptune and Capricorn generation. So Neptune is a generational planet, so it really shapes the time. Neptune and Capricorn individuals are largely drawn to the arts and the healing professions in terms of career, and a lot of them are YouTubers. Your level of compassion will increase through your friendships and associations. A best friend will give you the shirt off her back, and vice versa. You could have at least one friend who is very devoted to you with Neptune in the 11th. And it will be easy to attract friends who are artists, musicians, as well as those who are very spiritual. You could be deceived by a friend or associate with Neptune in the 11th. Death may occur at the hands of a so-called friend or acquaintance. You could also have friends that are just moochers who are trying to leech off of you. You could have a friend that's a drug addict. Friends could overstep their boundaries. A friend or associate could spread rumors or gossip about you. A friendship could end over a misunderstanding. Also, Neptune in the 11th can bring an interest in the magical and mystical side of life. You could also be into esoteric knowledge, the paranormal, and science fiction. Of course, astrology is of interest to you, which is evidenced by Neptune occupying the 11th house. And crystals, essential oils, and the magical properties of herbs may be of interest as well. Now, when it comes to the pursuit of your goals, it will be easy to lose sight of them, especially when you are tantalized by things that provide instant gratification. Neptune in the 11th house can result in becoming fully immersed in the pursuit of a goal that signs and synchronicity abounds. When you envision yourself achieving a goal, you are already halfway there. Visualization can produce miraculous results when Neptune is in the 11th house. That 11th house is like the law of attraction house. This house placement of Neptune can result in gaining a huge following on a social media platform such as YouTube. Now, the moon is squaring Neptune. This is one of your most challenging aspects. Issues with family, especially in terms of feeling like an outcast at times, being mistaken for a woman, ambiguous gender, controlling mother who may overstep her boundaries, passivity with respect to your need to be in a relationship, and that's because of your Libra moon, and it's in the 7th house, which reinforces that passivity. It's like you're leaving it too much in the hands of others. Also, this can produce an addictive personality. It can result in being in danger of being homeless, or where there's water damage in the home, there's flooding in the home, being too impressionable. Paranoia could be a problem at times, especially if you smoke weed. This is not a good aspect for smoking weed or for doing any type of drugs, honestly. You could start having like some crazy thoughts and visions, and your imagination could just run wild. It's not a good aspect for drinking either. Irrational fears, especially, could be activated when you are intoxicated. Having a poor memory, poor instincts. Now, Venus is running contraparallel to Neptune, and this is another aspect that explains why you haven't been in a relationship. Again, passivity is a problem. And this puts you in danger of being scammed or conned out of money. Yearning for more than what a relationship has to offer, that's a problem. Escapism, money problems due to being out of work, self-esteem issues over your teeth, reluctance to take center stage, shying away from attention. And I mentioned the teeth theme that you told me about, and that's because Neptune's in Capricorn. Venus rules self-esteem. So this is one of the aspects that makes it hard for you to feel fully confident in yourself because of the teeth situation. Reluctance to take center stage, shying away from attention. Uranus is conjoined to Neptune. This makes you a Nepturanian. And like I always say, Nepturanians have been brought here to fulfill a special mission. So you got to determine what your special mission is in life. And I already know what it is, but I'll get to that in a moment. Special challenges also, though, could befall you with that Uranus-Neptune conjunction. Also, this can result in coming across as weird, strange, aloof, and socially awkward. And that's mainly because Neptune is one of your chart rulers. And you just being a Pisces rising period, you could just come across as strange and awkward and weird sometimes. To some people, that is. Spiritual awakening could occur at various points in your life. Watching astrology videos on YouTube, and that's because this conjunction is in the 11th house. 11th house deals with astrology, also social media, and Neptune deals with videos. Uranus deals with astrology. Reinforces androgyny theme of your 11th house Neptune. Also, this can produce strange dreams, especially dreams that are alerting you to future events. Be careful of confiding secrets in friends. You really can't trust friends fully when Uranus is conjoined to Neptune. And also, this can deal with where you are merging too much with friends, where the friend's problems become your own. I've seen this happen with my oldest daughter who has this conjunction, and it's like she's too dependent upon her friendships. So if you don't have any friends with this conjunction, that actually might be a good thing. Neptune is in trine with Chiron. Now, this is the chief do-it-yourself aspect that can enable you to create an organic skin and hair care line since Chiron is in Virgo. So I love this aspect in terms of what you are interested in. So how you be creating your own lip balms and lotions, and what else you be creating for yourself? Hair conditioners, and what else? You said something else using flaxseed gel, hair gel. All of that deals with this aspect right here. And you can take what you do for yourself and sell it to others because Chiron's in your 7th house. So this right here, this is one of the aspects that can take you far in life. This is one of the aspects that can make you very successful. This trine shows that you could be very successful. Like I said, making your own hair gel and other products, like I was mentioning. Now, okay, see, I'm getting ahead of myself. I forgot I copied what you said. So you are quoted as saying, I make my own lotion, chapstick, shaving cream, toner, body scrub, face wash, flaxseed gel for the hair, and the list goes on. This is what I'm talking about. This is your gift. This is your purpose. The acting, the singing, the modeling should come secondary because Neptune is your chart ruler. Chiron is in Virgo. It's in the seventh house. You're already doing this. So all you got to do is kick it up a few notches. Remember what I said with the trine? Kick it up a few notches. Really learn all that you can learn about creating these types of products and learn what all you can learn about getting your product on the markets. Aspect of a healer. So again, some of your products could produce healing effects. And with this, you got the magical touch. That makes me think of that 80s song. I got the Midas touch. Everything I touch turn to gold. And you do got the Midas touch because you got all that Leo energy. Now, you could dream about your partner before you meet him. You could wish him into your life through visualization, meditation, chanting, and vision boards. Vision boards will be very beneficial for you. Neptune is opposing the asteroid Demeter. And this is another abandonment aspect that can keep you from being in relationships with people. And this can deal with a partner who goes missing in action. Neptune is conjoined to the fixed star Peacock, and this deals with vanity and love of display. And also, it can produce a long life and sometimes fame. So you asked about death. That was one of your questions. Well, this fixed star, and Matt had this too, if I'm not mistaken, that could deal with where you do live a long life. Now we're going to get into Saturn because Saturn's in your first house. So Saturn is very important, being as though it's angular. So remember I was talking about the angular, succeeded, and cadent houses and how the angular houses are the most impactful. So with the Saturn and Pisces being in your first house, it's like you don't have no choice but to do something on the artistic level, healing level, spiritual level, magical level. Pisces doesn't leave many choices beyond that, unless you want to be something like, charity, or you want to be a circus clown or some shit like that, or you want to be like a wildlife conservationist and save the animals and save the whales and the panda bears and the monkeys and all that cute stuff. Now, Saturn's at the 24th degree of Pisces and it's retrograde in your first house. That retrograde Pisces, that can cause you to be a bit reluctant. It can also cause you to procrastinate, and it can also cause you to internalize situations. The 24th degree of Pisces, that's very blessed. That produces strong artistic and creative talents. It's good for earning money through the arts. It's good for making your own beauty products or cosmetics. Very much into beauty. It brings a yearning to be in a relationship, and it can manifest as a business partnership. Age 24 will be very pivotal in terms of professional life and ambitions. And you could be taking more charge of your destiny. So it makes sense that you got this natal chart, video natal chart reading at your age now, because this is life changing. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm like, anytime you get your natal chart read, I feel like that is a milestone event. Whoever's reading your chart, as long as they're reading it right. Now, hard lessons in the areas of compassion, empathy, and sacrifice could be major themes. Also, this brings a need to develop spiritual understanding to make sense of karmic-induced challenges that befall you. Didn't Matt have Saturn and Pisces too? I think y'all are around the same age. Also, this can manifest as paranormal activity due to a need to experience more than what this material world has to offer. Saturn represents that which is lacking, and when Saturn is in Pisces, discernment between that which is real versus fake is often lacking. Saturn in Pisces makes it easy to be duped. Thus, it's important to fact check and demand that outlandish claims be substantiated. Self-sufficiency tends to be lacking with Saturn in Pisces. There's a tendency to shirk responsibility and to shift blame onto others. Personal accountability could be lacking. If you are not like this could pertain to your father. Serious illness or disability. It can also produce a weakened immune system when it's in the first house. Problems with the feet. And know that your feet are directly linked to your karmic debt. So if you step on something sharp, and I see in your chart that that's highly probable, then know that that's part of your karmic debt that you're paying back. If you break a toe or you twist a ankle and you can't walk on a certain foot, know that that's part of your karmic debt. You got athlete's foot, or you got some ingrown toenails, corns, because you wearing those tight shoes and stuff, that's your karmic debt. You go to get a pedicure and you come back with this horrible bacterial infection, that is your karmic debt. Of course, I'm being in rare form tonight. Now, disorders of the lymphatic system, as I said before, with Pisces rising, Saturn and Pisces in the first retrograde just exacerbates that possibility. Also, you could have a high sensitivity to chemicals, dyes, and certain fragrances. Skin disorders such as eczema and psoriasis are a common manifestation of Saturn and Pisces. Freedom tends to be lacking or it can be threatened when Saturn is in Pisces. Imprisonment, institutionalization, and hospitalization are keywords for Saturn and Pisces. Isolation is another. Hard lessons involving addiction, passivity, and dishonesty. Karma is swift and heavy, so you got to try to go to straight and narrow when you got Saturn and Pisces. Now, Saturn in the first house is about the creation of new ambitions. Once an ambition is achieved, you are looking for new ones. You may never be at a point of total satisfaction when it comes to your personal achievement. You may have had to grow up fast, or you may have seen a lot at a young age, more than what you were supposed to see. You could be wise beyond your years, and you could be very mature. Demeanor is serious, reserved, and composed. Very conscientious of how your actions affect others. Also, Saturn in the first can produce loner tendencies, so that's one of the problems you have, why you've never been in a relationship. Saturn in the first house can pertain to using a shortened version of your name. So I don't know if you go by Mark at times or if you use some other type of name. And again, that Saturn in Pisces can deal with where you're tripping people up, you're confusing them because you got that feminine look, but your name is Marcus. But I know you don't consider yourself transgender. You just said that you're androgynous. Problems with identification, such as your name being misspelled on your birth certificate, or there could be a discrepancy in terms of your time of birth. So, with that being said, if some of this doesn't apply to you, let me know. And double check your birth certificate too, just to be on the safe side, because sometimes Saturn rise can produce an issue with the time of birth, but I doubt that's the case in your because there would be other factors in your chart that would point to that. So I doubt that's the case. So that's more, some of this is very general. Now, Saturn in the first house can manifest as skin and bone disorders. It can also result in dental problems as well as issues with your knees. A first house Saturn is certainly not an easy placement since Saturn is the planet of restrictions, limitations, and deficiencies. It is the planet of karma. Thus, a lot of what occurs in your life will be fated. Circumstances beyond your control will be lessons in patience and personal responsibility. Going back to that birth time, I'm almost certain that your birth time is accurate because it's the 16th degree. And considering your life and what you look like, yeah, makes a lot of sense. Now, the sun is in sesqui square with Saturn, and this is another aspect that could deal with the dissolution of masculine energy because Saturn's in Pisces. Also, this could deal with lacking confidence due to your underbite. So with Saturn and Pisces, period, there could be an issue with your teeth. You could lose teeth. You could end up having a chipped tooth at some point. And that could be due to getting hit in the face or something like that. Like for instance, my oldest daughter has Saturn in Pisces, and she got into a car accident, and I think one of her teeth got messed up or whatever, but also her bottom lip got stuck between her teeth. Oh God. But anyway, with you have that underbite, and that's very much dealing with Saturn in the first house, retrograde. So Saturn went in Pisces, and the underbite I'm saying is basically Saturn and Pisces, because Pisces can deal with things that are diminutive, I'll say, or things that just are not properly developed. What's another word? Saturn deals with deficiencies, period, but Saturn deals with the teeth. And then Pisces can just deal with where things are, I'm trying to remember that word. Diminutive is one, but there's another one. Inadequate, inferior. So you could just say inferior. So the fact that you have that underbite, which basically means that your bottom teeth come out further than your top, because I had to look this up, and that can result in having a frown on your face, or it can look like you're frowning, and you do have that look. So lacking confidence due to the underbite. So this is what I mean about having to put the work in, and Saturn does deal with work after all. So if you're trying to get to be something that deals with entertainment, and you want to be put out in the forefront, whether it's modeling, acting, or singing, you're going to have to take care of that underbite. And from what I heard, or from what I've looked at just briefly on the internet, I think simple Invisalign can fix that. Now, I don't know how expensive that is, and it could be an issue. I'm sure it is, dealing with money probably, why you haven't gotten that done. But you need to make that a priority and that's it, you plan on being at the forefront in terms of your career. So like if you plan on being a model, if you plan on being an actor, because telling you, they're going to let you know about that underbite anyway. So you might as well get the head start on it and get that fixed. So that means that you might have to work hard and save up money, or work for a company that has good dental insurance in order to get that underbite taken care of, because that is a big problem. You said it. You said that part of the reason why you haven't really put the work in yet is because of your lack of confidence due to your underbite. So if you know that, then you got to fix that. And that might be the main obstacle that's standing in your way. Fearing criticism results in not even putting forth an effort to succeed. Challenges with becoming fully independent. Lacking a close relationship with the father. Being a caregiver for your grandfather can be used as an excuse not to go forward and accomplish your goals and make your dreams a reality. Challenges with realizing your ambitions. Now, I'm not getting on you about being mind you, I'm not getting on you about being the caregiver for your grandfather, but the longer you do that, the more you might become complacent and keep on putting your dreams on hold. Challenges with realizing your ambitions. Attracting friends who are moochers, who take advantage of your generosity. Back problems, especially in terms of a slipped disc. So that could happen in the process of acting. Because especially like when it comes to those action scenes and stuff like that, those actors always be getting injured. Saturn trine Pluto, this is a powerful aspect. I love this aspect. It could deal with, having major come ups in terms of your career and being bolstered. Now, this is an aspect of a chemist, because Saturn's in Pisces, Pluto's in Scorpio. So that's like you mixing things together, creating these concoctions. It's an aspect of a healer as well. Also, this can deal with having a business where you sell products that provide therapeutic benefits. Also, this can result in having a prominent YouTube channel. being influential in terms of business, artistic collaborations. This can deal with having a licensing deal at some point. Successful dental surgery or procedure. There you go. That could be, again, just the simple Invisalign that you have to wear for a year or so. Could receive an inheritance from the father. So that's something to look forward to. So you might want to get a little more chummy with that. Saturn sextile Neptune, a business selling cosmetics, beauty products, and toiletries. So here's another aspect that is telling you what your destiny really is about. An older friend doubles as a mentor. However, let me stop. Oh, here it is right here. I keep on getting ahead of myself. So older friend doubles as a mentor, working within the film or music industry. It's good for modeling as well. Producing miraculous results, and this could be as a result of your products. Being a member of a network of artists. A successful YouTube channel is used to promote your business. And cosmetic dentistry. So this is another one that can deal with getting your teeth fixed. Saturn opposition Chiron. Now, again, this is another aspect that could deal with where that underbite leads to insecurity. Because again, the underbite is coming from Saturn and Pisces retrograde in the first house. And then that Chiron in Virgo, that's the insecurity. That Chiron in Virgo already set you up to be insecure. And with an opposing Saturn and Pisces, that's dealing with insecurity regarding that underbite. Also, this can manifest as a device that corrects underbite, such as Invisalign, like I talked about. So that Chiron in Virgo can deal with the actual device. And because Chiron's in the seventh house, that's a reason to get out there and start dating, because you might attract a man that'll pay for it. Shoot. Now, all the ingredients required to make the beauty products, procuring ingredients can apply to this aspect. And there might be times where you can't find what you need. They might run all out, or their things might be on back order. This can result in being at risk of a bad chemical reaction. So when I was looking at this aspect, I was thinking about you being in a lab with a white lab coat on, doing this concoction. You know how they would have the different beakers and stuff like that, and then you mix in one thing with another, and poof, it just blows up or whatever. So mixing certain things together, you might be, in for a little bad chemical reaction if you try it on your skin or your hair or something. So even when it comes to all natural products, sometimes if you mix the wrong ones together, it can produce a bad chemical reaction. Attracting a partner who is broken, attempting to heal a partner, what ails him. A partner who zeroes in on your weaknesses and who uses humiliation tactics to try to make you feel inferior. A partner could have an issue with hygiene that results in humiliation. I'm trying not to laugh at this part, but that is a possibility. Look, anytime you got Virgo in the seventh, especially if it's like Chiron in Virgo or Pluto in Virgo, or sometimes even Mars in Virgo, you could attract a partner that has some hygiene issues. Maybe they don't know how to wash their ass right. Maybe their breath stink. Maybe they farting all the time. I don't know, but like skid marks in the drawers. So that could be an issue with one of your partners. That's why it's important to be very selective up front and to make sure, that you go out on several dates with a guy first before you even get intimate with him. Cause you might be y'all might be in the thick of things, like in the throes of foreplay. You might be like, what's that smell? So I'm just letting you know. Saturn is opposing Hera. Now this can result in attracting a partner who is jealous and vindictive. Also, it can result in keeping score in a relationship. So a partner like keeping tabs on you, keeping score, like, and also like, what have you done for me lately stuff. Used to be a time when you would pamper me. Used to brag about it all the time. All right. A need to take an accounting of various ingredients, materials for products, or this can also deal with managing inventory. Saturn is running parallel to Minerva, and this can deal with possessing wisdom of the concoctions that you make for the public. So, for instance, your organic hair care line. It can also result in ability to anticipate the needs of the public in terms of beauty products. This also deals with your father too. Why didn't I put that in there with the father? Definitely dealing with your father. But I do have that later on in your chart. But in terms of this aspect in particular, it can deal with where you feel like you can gain approval from your father no matter what you do. Or maybe, you feel like he does show that, he might approve of you, but you might think that he's being insincere because of that Saturn in Pisces. Saturn is conjoined to the fixed star Saddlebari, and this deals with knowledge of healing herbs. So there you go again. That's dealing with your organic skin and hair care line. I love this. Also, ambition, vanity, intuition, enthusiasm, caprice. Caprice means like you change up quickly. Bad judgment, changes in weather, events concerning ships and the ocean. So you better be careful if you take one of those cruises, because you could end up getting something like food poisoning, or you could end up what other crazy stuff be happening on those cruises. There could be a bad storm and shit, and next thing you know, you acting out a scene in the Titanic. Saturn is conjoined to Marcab. Marcab is a fixed star that is known as the star of sorrows, and it can also bestow upon you honors and riches. It produces literary skill, but it can also manifest as disgrace, ruin, legal problems, accidents, cuts, violence, stabs, and surgery. Now, some of this could apply to you, some of it could apply to your father, because Saturn rules fathers. Some of this could also apply to a friend, because Saturn's ruling the 11th house. Now, Saturn is also conjoined to the Arabic part of commerce. Here, this is all the proof you need that you need to be really making those organic hair and skincare products. So this shows that you could be successful in a business selling organic hair and skincare products. I keep getting ahead of myself. So here's your chart again. So we went through your ascendant, Saturn at the 24th degree of Pisces. This is like your secret weapon right here. Even though it's retrograde, that retrograde can make you a perfectionist. So it can result in testing your products, having a test market even before you release them to the public. You could even do like focus groups and stuff, because Neptune is in sextile with Neptune's in sextile with Saturn. Neptune's in the 11th. So that could deal with where you hire a focus group firm to test out your products for feedback before you release them to the public. So if you're going to do this, you got to do it right. And it's going to take some hard work and dedication. You have what it takes, but remember what I said about that Jupiter. That Jupiter could cause you to be too lackadaisical. Hell, Pisces rising could cause you to be too lackadaisical as well. And Saturn in Pisces can cause you to be too lackadaisical. So you're going to have to fight against yourself. You're going to have to go against your own grain. And we didn't even get into that Taurus South Node yet. That's the underlying reason for your problems. So, second house. So, the 29th degree of Aries is on the second house cut. So, let's go back to your chart real quick. We'll circle that. So, here's your second house. Second house deals with money, finances, resources, values, standards, things that you really value, things that you don't really want to share with people, really, if you think about it, because it could deal with things that you hoard. Also, that second house deals with your taste, your preferences, your style. So you got the 29th degree of Aries on that second house cuts. That can produce conflict. That's not a good degree to have dealing with money. But you got all this Taurus energy in the second house as well, which is good for money, especially because Venus is in trine with Jupiter. You couldn't ask for nothing better than that, even with that Taurus South Node in the second house. And the South Node is not all bad. However, you don't have any aspects, positive aspects that would really help you out in terms of that South Node. As you can see, there's nothing but red, and that red denotes conflict. And the South Node is part of a grand cross in your chart, which we'll get into when we get into that South Node. So the second house begins at the 29th degree of Aries, and this produces internal and external conflicts regarding money, especially making money fully independently. And it could bring interferences from third parties. So the third party could be some type of middleman. It could be an agent that's taking a cut of your money, could be a manager. Issues with values, money, and standards with respect to home, family, mother, and parenthood. Also food, race, and culture. Being in high pressure situations, especially involving men. Being in love in a love triangle with two men is possible. Domineering but also protective mother. Conflict over how money is earned. I'm going to have to take a break and eat a snack. All this reading got me hungry, especially now that we're on the second house. Searching for materials, ingredients, herbs, roots, what have you for your products. And again, because of that 29th degree, sometimes there could be a conflict with finding the right type of ingredients. Now, there could be a conflict over hair products, especially in terms of ingredient. Wherever Aries falls in the chart is where the work on your individual self needs to begin. With Aries on the second house cusp, the work needs to begin with your values and your sense of self-worth. The problem with Aries on the second cusp is that your identity could hinge too much upon the material side of life. It may seem that your values often clash with the values of others. Aries can bring fast money, but money may also be spent just as quickly. Mars being in Libra doesn't help much, since Libra likes to impress others with what they wear and what they have. And your Mars is in the seventh house, which just compounds those Libra themes. Also, it can produce a voracious appetite for money and possessions. Aries on the second is good for finding new sources of money. And you have original money making ideas, and you're not afraid to stick your neck out if the material reward is worth it. Money can be made independently. Financial independence should be your end goal unless the Aries energy is channeled into Aries related professions that requires being employed. Now, it's going to be hard for you to make money independently though, because your Mars is in Libra in the seventh house. So you will have to form partnerships with others, or at least link up with others in order to become successful. But at some point, you could make money independently if you are operating a business. But you'll still have to be in partnership with like a distributor or a manufacturer, what have you. Also, Aries on the second produces the hunger, drive, and determination needed to be a top salesperson, especially with a seventh house Mars. A seventh house Mars in Libra is great for working directly with the public. Mars is in sextile with Venus, which is conducive to being successful in sales, especially since Venus is in the fifth house and it's in Leo. The drive to become wealthy may have been present within you from an early age. Mars is in sextile with the Sun, Venus, and Jupiter. That sets you up to make a lot of money over the course of your lifetime if you play your cards right. Since Mars is in Libra, there will be a need to form partnerships with people or companies if you become an entrepreneur. There is a need to watch out for the tendency to esteem the ego over the spirit. Disputes over money and possessions are likely. There will be times in your life where you will have to fight for what is due to you. Damaged possessions, and the culprit could be a fire, or it could be your partner with Mars in the seventh. You have a need to try new things. the way your life may transpire, you may not have a chance to get used to much. Mars in Libra places a high value upon relationships. But again, it's in the 7th house, so you're really leaving it up to other people to form relationships with you. And the fact that Aries begins in your 1st house, that's showing too, because Mars is in Libra in the 7th, you're still maintaining that passivity, even though you have Aries prominently placed in that 1st house. Mars is in Libra in the 7th. But that's really good for artistic expression as well. Money, values, and standards could often be the problem in a relationship or marriage. And again, that's because Mars is in Libra and it's in the 7th house. Now, the South Node is in the 2nd house. It's in Taurus at the 0 degree of Taurus. So this is pure Taurus energy. And it can produce many possibilities in the areas of money, the arts, and beauty. The 2nd house placement of the Taurus South Node compounds the themes of the bull. Matt has a Taurus South Node too, so y'all were definitely born within a year of each other. Perhaps you use herbs to heal people in your past life. The tendency towards stubbornness and possessiveness needs to be overcome. There's also a tendency to resist necessary change. The more resistance you put up, the more upsetting these changes will be. Money could be a constant source of consternation. It may seem that financial security is often far out of reach, at least during the early part of your life. Or you could make a lot of money, and through making a lot of money, there could be problems. So people always asking you for money and stuff. But in your particular case, money could be a constant source of consternation for many years until you really make it to that point where you're supposed to be financially. And I'm a perfect example of that because I got a Taurus South Node too. Now, you may feel that you never have enough money, or you may have disdain for the manner in which you earn it. In this lifetime, if you work solely for the purpose of paying bills, you will not be fulfilled. So that problem has been taken care of, because being an actor, singer, model, that's not professions where you're just worried about paying the bills, because those are professions where it's very hard to make money. Even making those products, it's really going to be an uphill battle because you have a lot of competition. So you're really going to have to be smart about this. Now, there's a chance that you will forsake your calling for the sake of maintaining a stable means of income. So you always got to be careful of that. You could fall back on that Taurus South Node too much just out of financial security. The Taurus South Node produces rigidity where values and standards are concerned. You are naturally inclined to do things the hard way, which can keep you trapped in a pattern of productivity followed by stagnation. Getting stuck on a certain methodology could be a problem. Also, there will be times where you will be forced to part with that which you treasure. Material loss is a major theme of the Taurus South Node. Losses will occur to combat the tendency towards possessiveness and materialism. The tendency to place too much emphasis on the superficial concerns also needs to be reduced. Now, the fact that this South Node is in the 2nd house in Taurus, it's just compounding these issues, compounding these themes. Taurus is about the mainstream, but in this lifetime, you will find that mainstream culture is vapid and devoid of any meaning. Now, you might be very much into it when you're younger, but the older you get, the more you're going to be selective about how you, the level of your involvement with mainstream culture. Complacency is often a problem. Issues with self-esteem and self-worth. Also, don't attempt to conform too much to the dictates of society. You can't be conforming too much in this lifetime. Being undervalued and unappreciated, and that could especially happen through your line of work, making money. Wanting to take all the credit, so you will refuse outside support. Having fixations, hypersensuality, attachments, hoarding. Being inclined towards hyperindulgence, being too accustomed to peace and comfort. Issues with food. Disorders of the throat and mouth are possible manifestations of the Taurus South Node. The moon is opposing the South Node, and this is one of the reasons why you have yet to be in a relationship. And this is due to being too guarded and too cautious. The moon is at the 26th degree of Libra. That 26 reinforces the partnership theme. Also, being stuck in a cohabitation situation due to financial insecurity could be a problem at some point. Dealing with opposition from family. So you mentioned that your family will discourage you from achieving your dreams and pursuing your ambitions. So here it is right here. You said, as far as making steps into pursuing my dreams, unfortunately, I haven't done much. But I think most of it has to do with, and then I just cut out some of that and I put, allowing others, mostly family, to discourage me into taking any action into pursuing my goals because it's not a real job. That's the epitome of that moon opposition South Node aspect. So your South Node is at the 0 degree of Taurus, your moon's at the 26th degree of Libra. So even though the moon's in Libra, it's at the 26th degree. So that distance still qualifies as an opposition. And your family talk about a real job, that's that Taurus South Node in the second house. You can't succumb to the temptation to allow your family to beat you into submission and just take one of those quote unquote real jobs or to settle for one. Yeah, you might have to take on some quote unquote real jobs until you make it in your field, but it should never be the final solution in this lifetime. And I don't have one of those quote unquote real jobs, and I do pretty well for myself. It took many years for me to get to a point where I could be self sufficient, but I'm there and I haven't looked back. And you have to say the same thing. You got to be the same way when it comes to achieving your dreams and your goals. You can't allow people to dissuade you and discourage you. And you're going to get that a lot because what you're doing is you're scaring people that don't have the chutzpah or the balls or the moxie to go after their dreams. That's what's happening. Now, Venus is square in the South Node. This is a serious aspect that can deal with problems with relationships. So this can also deal with lacking the confidence to make yourself available for a relationship due to self-esteem issues or because you're just too guarded. Being too guarded results in an inability to form relationships. Hoarding your creations instead of sharing them with the world. Problems with spending and financial management, especially because Venus is in Leo, South Node's in the second house. A relationship can trigger issues with self-esteem. A relationship could result in financial ruin, which is why you can't get with no dusties in this lifetime. You can't get with nobody that's struggling financially. Don't do it. Don't do it. Not with this aspect. Being ill advised. So you got to be careful of the advice you receive from people. Bad investment. An unfavorable contractual agreement. Uranus is square in the South Node, and this can produce a sudden loss of income, drastic changes in income. And you mentioned that you had to stop working at H&M because of the ether, that damn ether. When you lose your job at H&M, say damn ether. Money fluctuates, unstable financial situation, issues with forming quality friendships, having fake friends. Uranus is ruling the 12th. That alone can produce fake friends. Attracting a friend who mooches money and items off of you. Wage garnishment is possible, so you better stay on top of your taxes. Also better stay on top of credit card debt. Getting scammed by a bogus or shady company, especially online. Let me know if that's happened already. The Ascendant is in semi-square with the South Node, and this can result in wasting money on frivolous items. I bet you have a lot of unused products in your bathroom or in your room. Stuff that you bought, you only used once, and because you didn't like it. Let me know about that too. Mixing ingredients to create concoctions. Things can get messy. You might have a lot of spills and stains. Lost items. Always check your receipts, especially for major purchases with this aspect. Being fussy over your appearance. It costs money to look this good. Possibility of food poisoning. Let me know if you ever had a case of food poisoning. Now, your South Node is conjoined to the asteroid Lilith. And this can deal with a past life of being attached to sexual gratification and where you were very hedonistic. Also, you could have been viewed as a deserter. Partner could leave you and clean out your bank account with this aspect. Also, the South Node is conjoined to Merak. And this is a fixed star that can manifest as good fortune through marriage. So again, you have the ability to marry up. Beauty, love, talent, intuition, brilliance, and creativity. Generosity inspires others, loves home. The South Node is opposed to the Arabic part of fatality. And this can deal with your question regarding longevity and the manner of your death. Also, this can result in having a fatalistic view of life. And this can prevent you from putting forth the effort to succeed. Also, it can result in allowing others to dictate your fate. I might have to do this video in 4 parts because I'm already at the 3rd house and I know it's probably going on like 2 hours. I have no idea when I started this. But if I make this into 4 parts, forgive me. Because I'm seriously thinking about stopping after this 3rd house. Or no, I'm going to go all the way up to the 4th house. We're going to do this in 3 parts. We're going to do 4 houses at a time. So part 1 is going to be houses 1 through 4. Part 2 is going to be houses 5 through 8. Part 3 is going to be houses 9 through 12. Because I don't want to make each video too long and then it takes extra long to convert and then upload. But here is your South Node right here. As you can see, it's at the 0 degree of Taurus in the 2nd house. Taurus is spanning almost the entire 2nd house. So it reinforces that money theme. But you do have that little slice of Aries in that 2nd house, and that is very impactful. You got all this Aries in your 1st house. Mars is in your 7th in Libra. And again, that's a big reason why you've never been in a relationship, because you're putting your fate too much in the hands of others, you can say. That could deal with where you will lack initiative to go after things as well in terms of a relationship. Again, you're just leaving it into the man's hands. And if you're not making yourself known, if you're not making yourself seen, you may not be in a relationship for a long time. But this can also deal with, on the other hand, where you are searching for a partner at some point. So where you turn it around, you're searching for a partner, and it could be through a dating site or some other type of meetup group like I spoke about, and you find your partner that way. So you really got to seek that partner out, but do it when the time is right. There's no need to rush things. Because like I said, relationships are work and they are hella stressful. And you have Virgo on the 7th house cusp, not to get ahead of myself, but you got Virgo on the 7th house cusp. That's stress alone. So again, I can't say this enough. Enjoy the single life while you can. So we're going to move on to that 3rd house. Now that 3rd house, you got the 28th degree of Taurus on that 3rd house cusp. And that means that Venus is ruling the 3rd house. It's in Leo, but you also got a lot of Gemini in that 3rd house. And with that, you got Mercury also in Leo. So Leo is very much dictating that 3rd house and 3rd house activities. Like you're channeling that energy of the 3rd house into Leo concerns. So we're about to get into that right now. 3rd house. So the 28th degree of Taurus is on the 3rd house cusp. That 28th degree of Taurus can result in being too trusting. You can end up trusting people at face value. Also, it can produce sudden gains of money, but also sudden losses. Issues with transportation or cars, especially in terms of cost and reliability. Investing in your self-worth and talents is necessary in this lifetime. Venus in Leo reinforces the themes of the 28th degree. Control issues involving mother in terms of money, values, and validation. A practical and methodical. What is wrong with me? See, this is how you know I need to take a break. A practical and methodical mindset. Your communication style is calm, patient, and poised. You have a need for peaceful and serene environment. Also a need to cultivate certain communication style, and this could be related to your line of work. Money occupies a significant portion of your mental space, but that can also be true for art and design, also herbs. Very concerned about safety and security, tendency towards a rigid and obstinate mindset, tendency to err on the side of caution with respect to speaking your mind, and this is due to a need to keep the peace. However, you are likely to be very vocal when it comes to your standards. An artistic mind that is built for music, dance, and the visual arts. It's also good for design. Also, this is conducive to a life where beauty and artistic expression are the centerpiece. Basically, that third house deals with your daily life and what you're doing on a daily basis. So with Taurus there, you're very much about beauty, art, design, music, singing on a daily basis. Like you might walk around always singing or humming a tune with that 28th degree of Taurus on the third house cuts. You cannot thrive in seedy and chaotic environments. Ugliness could be an anathema to you. You are inclined to lean on the realism end of the mentality spectrum. However, there are times when you are sporting those rose-tinted glasses. There is also a tendency to be superficial at times. You are apt to trust someone at face value as long as they look and act the part. So I already mentioned that. And then the fact that both rulers of the third house are in Leo can make you quite naive. Amongst friends and family, you may often be the voice of reason. You prefer to use finesse whenever you are at odds with someone instead of force. You have no qualms about removing yourself from situations that threaten your peace of mind. So here you go, right here. I don't know how old you were. You look like you was about 9 or 10 years old. I love this picture of you. So this reminds me of your ascendant being conjoined to Saturn and Pisces. Now, some of y'all could maybe see, it's not really just easy to see that underbite right there. But what I'm getting at with the Saturn and Pisces conjoined to the ascendant, there's like a tinge of sadness in your face. And I see that very much with Pisces risings in particular. People with heavy Pisces energy in general always has this look of sadness behind the eyes. And you also have that dreamy look, which is very Pisces. And then you just look like a gentle, compassionate soul. You look very empathic. So that's why I chose this aspect to represent this picture right here. And again, look at that beautiful skin tone. Ever since I've known Marcus, I always talk about his skin tone. I'd be like, look, I be telling him he got that sun-kissed skin. And I was telling him that before I even knew he was a Leo. So you definitely got that Leo sun-kissed skin going on. Kissed by the sun. All right. Here's your chart again. That third house. Are we done with the third house already? What? Just know that a lot of Leo energy is caught up in that third house. So that explains why you want to be an actor, basically work in the entertainment fields, be a performer. But also, like I said, that Leo energy impacting your third house can make you quite naive. It can make you a victim of false flattery. So you got to be careful of that. But it can also cause you to be very self-conscious when dealing with people. Even when talking to people, you might be very self-conscious. Also, the third house deals with siblings. So with that 28th degree, there could be an issue with siblings in terms of your ability to trust a sibling. I can't remember if you said you have any full siblings or if you have any half siblings. But you do got Mercury conjoined to the sun, and that could deal with having a half sibling through your father. So let me know if that's the case. Also, a lot of your mindset could come from your father as well. Even though y'all don't have a close relationship, number one, he could have taught you a lot about life. And number two, you could just adopt a lot of his views on life. Now, if you don't think that's true, maybe you haven't really sat down with him as an adult and really had a good conversation with him to see how you have basically took on some of his mentality. But that's what that Leo energy impacting that third house can deal with as well. Moving along, fourth house. So the fourth house is at the 22nd degree of Gemini. That 22nd degree could be very tricky. Submission and caution with respect to relatives on the father's side. So you mentioned you had these issues with your father's side of the family in particular. You said that it's not really bad, but you just can't connect with them really. Control or be controlled with cohabitation situations. So you always need to keep that in mind. Splitting time between two homes could have been the case growing up. And you did say your parents got divorced at age 3. Freak accidents in or around the home are possible. Natural disasters are possible. So you got to be careful where you choose to live. If you were to move somewhere, make sure you're not moving somewhere where there's a high incidence of natural disasters. Sudden and unexpected changes in terms of home or family dynamic. Sudden emergence of one's shadow side. Honestly, Marcus, now that I think about it, when I first saw your picture, your profile picture on YouTube, I thought you were from the UK. I ain't even lying. And that speaks a lot to you having Jupiter in Sagittarius in the ninth house as your chart ruler. So honestly, I remember when I was looking at your location of birth, I was kind of at first because I had forgot some of the stuff you told me, and then I was like, because I remember when I first saw your picture, I thought you was from the UK. Isn't that funny? Because you got that Jupiter. Let's just say you got one of those. You're like an international beauty. I'll say that. Sudden emergence of the shadow side of your being could happen with that 22nd degree of Gemini. Sudden death of the father could be through a car accident. Let me know if you experience the sudden emergence of the shadow side through when you were young. Like for instance, where you just, got real snappy with one of your parents, namely your dad, like you said some smart ass shit out your mouth and it came out your mouth before you even knew it was coming out your mouth and you was like, oh my God, I can't believe I just said that. Let me know if that's the case, because that's how I see that 22nd degree of Gemini on the fourth playing out in terms of your shadow side. Like you could really cut somebody down to size with your words, but you might repress that energy a lot until you're like triggered or is just prompted to come out. So, like I said, this could be the sudden death of a father, could be through a car accident, but this can also put you at risk of sudden death as well, if you're not careful. And you did mention what some of the ways it could be where you end up um, meeting your maker. So, with that 22nd degree of Gemini, that can deal with sudden death by car, but it's on the fourth house cuts. So that's not really pertaining to cars in terms of you. That could be your father. Now, I'm not trying to say that's definitely going to happen, but that's a possibility. But that can also manifest as pneumonia too, in terms of your father. Also, it's indicative, Gemini on the fourth is indicative of an early home life that was full of changes. Or it could just deal with where, again, you were split in time between your mom and your father's house. You might have even spent some time living with extended family, or maybe like you would go with extended family during the summertime. Also, Gemini in the fourth is not conducive to a nurturing home environment due to the lack of consistency and emotional sensitivity that this sign displays. The importance of education could have been regularly stressed, however. Being in between homes, perhaps you had to spend time between your parents' homes if they were divorced. Your father could have been in and out of your life. Gemini on the fourth cusp can manifest as having two father figures, one of which could be a stepfather or a grandfather. As an adult, your home life may be largely inconsistent. You may end up living with a sibling or relative for some years. When you become successful, there's a good chance that you will have two homes. One of these homes could be rental property or a vacation home or investment property with Mercury and Leo. Now, you could be easily influenced by your family with Gemini on the fourth. You may be too concerned with what they think about you, especially your father's side. So you got to let that go. Gemini in the fourth house cusp can cause you to be too subjective. It also causes you to place too much mental focus on the past. Expect your neighbors to be all up in your business. Some of your neighbors may be very nosy and imposing. Others may double as good friends. You may live on a busy street or where there is a lot of pedestrian activity at some point in your life. Mercury, ruler of the fourth house, is in Leo, which means that your creative expression is displayed within your home. Mercury in Leo reinforces the father theme of the fourth house. Mercury is conjoined to the sun, which further reinforces the father theme. It's also representative of your father being a Leo. So I think you said your mom's an Aquarius, born February 14th, and your father's a Leo, but I forget what his birthday is. Mercury is in quincunx with your ascendant, which is not indicative of a close relationship with your father. Sun conjunct Mercury is pointing to the relatives on your father's side of the family and how you take issue with them. Mercury in Leo is good for real estate investments. But going back, Mercury is conjoined to the sun, so that can deal with where you, like I said before, like you could have learned a lot from him. So he could have taught you a lot, whether directly or indirectly. Mercury in Leo is good for real estate investment. The sixth house placement of Mercury is conducive to working from home. Being in need of help in terms of housing, and that's due to Mercury being in the sixth, so that could happen at some point. Issues with freely expressing yourself when you live with others. Hell, I should go on to that sixth house. Maybe I can make it. Repressed desires. Being a caregiver for family, and that can deal with Mercury being in the sixth. I'm about to look and see what's in the fifth real quick, because I forget. Because I might be able to just go all the way to the sixth house. You got your sun and Mercury. We might be able to do it. Let me see how I feel. Being a caregiver for family, that is Mercury in the sixth. Repressed desires, did I mention that? Shadow side can be expressed through acting, so that's really good because Mercury is in Leo. Androgyny is expressed in a carefully crafted way, and that's because Mercury is in the sixth. Androgyny is part of the expression of your shadow side, and that's that Gemini. Gemini is a sign of androgyny. Fifth house. So let me just go back. So here's that 22nd degree on the fourth house cusp right here. Mercury's in Leo in the sixth, conjoined to the sun. That's reinforcing the father theme all day. And then remember, I was talking about that sesqui square. No, my bad. The quincunx to your ascendant. That's where you had those issues with your father's side of the family. So that's where that's coming from. Now, if some of the issues involve them attacking you where you end up not having high self-esteem or feeling good about yourself, you need to put some distance between you and them, because anything that is impacting your self-esteem in a negative way, you need to cut out of your life. And you do got the moon conjoined to Neptune. I'm sorry. You do got the moon conjoined to the North Node in Scorpio, and that can deal with a need to cut certain family members out of your life that are not supportive. Fifth house. So the fifth house begins at the 14th degree of Cancer, and the 14th degree of Cancer can produce challenges with moving beyond an old love affair. It also results in having to do a lot to prove your love. Creative expression could be inhibited by clinging to family, mother, and that which is familiar. Challenges with living independently. Could live with a partner simply because you don't want to live alone. The Libra moon reinforces this notion, so you got to be careful about that. Racial or cultural differences with respect to love could be an issue. Expressing more of the feminine side of yourself while still maintaining an androgynous look. Also, this brings a need for closeness and a great deal of intimacy in terms of love and romance. When it comes to the affairs of the heart, you are very sensitive and sentimental. You are very demonstrative of your feelings. When you're in love, you need constant reassurance that your lover is still emotionally invested. You desire a lover who is sensitive, caring, and attentive. When you love someone, it is unconditionally. You are very nurturing and loyal when in love. Emulation is a product of this fifth house Cancer. So you might be emulating someone you admire, someone that you look up to. It could be a celebrity. It's not easy to express yourself when you are in an uncomfortable situation. You might clam up. Also, this can produce this mirroring effect where eerie similarities exist between your lovers. So again, I'm talking about Cancer on the fifth house cusp. So you and your lover, y'all could have a mother that has the same name, or y'all could end up having pets that have the same name, or you could end up driving the same brand of car or same make of car. You could end up let's see, your favorite movie could be the same exact movie. When y'all meet, y'all be like, oh, that's my favorite movie too. So there could be some eerie similarities because Cancer produced the mirroring effect. You might even get annoyed at the fact that you're attracting a lover that wants to mirror you in some ways. But there's a reason for this, and it very much ties into your Mars and Libra, also even that Taurus South Node, because that Taurus South Node, it could deal with, you're sticking to what's safe and secure. And of course, that can be what you're used to, what you know. Now, risk of becoming emotionally dependent upon a lover or even your children, if you have children. I really don't see children in your future because of your lifestyle. I don't even think children would be a good idea for you to have. Now, you might want to end up being like a godfather or something. Now, children may be an absolute joy to you when they are babies, but the more they develop a mind of their own, the more apt you are to view them as a nuisance. Now, again, the moon is in Libra and it's ruling your fifth house. The moon is in the seventh house in Libra, which means that could deal with other people's children. So you could be a step parent, you could be a godparent. Hell, you could meet a guy that already has children because maybe, he thought he was bisexual or he thought he was straight and he ended up, hell, you got some openly gay men that have children. Let me stop playing around. Now, Cancer on the fifth house cusp can cause you to be clingy and smothering with your loved ones. Cancer on the fifth cusp puts you at risk of duplicity, especially at the hands of a loved one. Duplicity could also be a problem with respect to an investment. Cancer on the fifth house cusp is conducive to successful real estate investments, but even then, you got to be careful. The moon, ruler of the fifth house, is in Libra. This is about sharing your creative skills and talents with the public instead of keeping them to yourself. With Taurus, you were very much about hoarding things and keeping it to yourself. Very engaging, relatable, and charming. That's what that Libra moon produces when it's ruling that fifth house, because that fifth house is about how you express yourself. Free will can be limited when in a relationship. Creativity could be stifled. Expressing yourself more as the opposite sex, fooling some men into them believing that you're female when you're really male. And it might be from afar. Because like I said, you could still tell you're a man, but you got a strong feminine element to you. So it might be you being far away, they think that you're a woman, and then when they get up close on you, they're like, oh damn. Like they was about to ask you for the digits, but then they be like, now they're questioning their sexuality. So you could really like flim flam some dudes and have them all messed up in the head over you. Attracting married men or men who were once married to women is possible. Now with Moon square Neptune, it can make it hard to be successful in Hollywood and the music industry Let's throw modeling in there as well. So you need to, consider that before, investing all this time and energy into pursuing that path. Not saying that it's not going to work, but it can be very difficult with this square. Moon square Uranus and Neptune makes it hard to be receptive to potential mates or relationships. Now, Venus is in the 5th house. It's in Leo. Venus is at the 5th degree of Leo, and it's in the 5th house. That 5th degree of Leo brings a passion for health and wellness. And that's because that passion dealing with health and wellness is very much about who you are as a person. In terms of, why am I? That's why I'm saying passion for health and wellness, because Venus is conjoined to the sun. I'm sorry. Maybe I should take a break because I'm drawing a blank. So Venus is in the 5th house, but it's conjoined to your sun in the 6th. And that's why I said a passion for health and wellness. So this is, and also because of the 5th degree. Again, I'm tripping. So both of them deal with a passion for health and wellness. The fact that Venus is conjoined to the sun, but the sun is in the 6th. And then you got the 5th degree of Leo. That 5th degree can deal with health concerns. So that's why I said what I said. Forgive me. Also, this can manifest as a part-time lover. Part-time lover. She's a part-time lover. Remember Stevie Wonder had that song? Yeah, that's one of your theme songs. That's one of the songs of your soundtrack, Part-Time Lover. Part-time father. Interest in celebrities. Also, this can produce a love for celebrity gossip. Creative writing. Teaching children is possible. So, once you become prominent in the entertainment world, or even, making products, you could teach children your craft. You could teach children acting or singing, what have you. A change in terms of image. Acting school. So this can deal with going to acting school because of the 5th degree. 5th deals with school, Leo deals with acting. Venus and Leo can result in relationships that are full of love, romance, but also drama. You have a need to run the show, especially with respect to making money, but also in relationships. Venus and Leo is looking for love, but the problem is that while Venus and Leo knows how to show love, receiving love in return is often a challenge. It can make it hard to allow yourself to be vulnerable, even though you're a Pisces rising. Now, there is a need for a relationship to feel like a storybook romance where there is passion, affection, and spine-tingling sex. You also do not want to settle for an old fuddy-duddy who grows old before his time. You desire a partner who remains active, physically fit, and young at heart. Venus and Leo can result in a tendency to be naive when it comes to relationships. You are prone to being a victim of false flattery, especially because Venus is ruling the 3rd house. Venus and Leo is great for sales since you have no problem promoting yourself and proclaiming your trustworthiness. Now, take that with a grain of salt because I do see some issues with self-promotion, but once you get some things taken care of, you will be a natural when it comes to sales, promoting yourself, singing your praises. Now, you're a natural when it comes to giving demonstrations and showcasing your talents. You are also naturally skilled at marketing. Venus and Leo is great for bringing in investment income. It can also result in some gambling winnings. And remember, I told you about that aspect in your chart, that lovely Venus trine Jupiter. There is a tendency to spend money carelessly. This is due to a need to distinguish yourself through your money and your possessions. Again, we kind of talked about this with Venus being the co-ruler of your 2nd house. Now, what you have and your ability to gain validation from others is directly linked to your sense of self-worth. Vanity could be a problem. Now, Venus and Leo can produce great fashion sense and a great sense of style. Also, it makes you very creative and inventive. You may possess some acting ability as well, especially with Venus being in the 5th house and in sextile to Mars. A partner could have a high profile career, or they could just be very popular in general. You attract mates who may take a long time to determine that they want to settle down. Venus in Leo does not appreciate the monotony of a lifeless marriage, so you will be very cautious when it comes to getting married. With Venus in Leo, you want a king, but sometimes you may end up with a bratty man child instead, especially since Venus is in the fifth house and is conjoined to the sun. Another caveat with Venus and Leo is the tendency for your ego to influence your relationship choices. You may be very concerned about looks and how much money a potential mate has, but you may be a poor judge of character. Venus is conjoined to the sun. That makes you very artistic and creative. It's an indicator for a love and attraction to men because of the Leo influence. Now, Venus conjoined to the sun often shows up in the charts of gay men. So, even without the sign being involved, my lips are all dry and chapped. God damn. Hold on, I gotta drink some vitamin water. Woo. All right. It's an indicator for love, for a love and attraction of men. Now, that right there is from the Leo energy, but Venus conjoined to the sun. You will see this in quite a few gay men's charts because it means that they're very in touch with their feminine side and they're very receptive as men. Now, in touch with your feminine side, but not in a soft or prissy way, and that's because of the Leo influence. Hair is a primary focus. Beauty is another. Creating products. Investing in your image. Star quality, good for acting. Great for being an entertainer or performer. Also, with Venus conjoined to the sun, it's great for sales and marketing. This can result in being quite spoiled. Also, you could be touchy and easily peeved, and you could have a narcissistic streak. Now, if you don't have a narcissistic streak, you could project this onto a partner. Can be very vain. Relationship can be a means of ego validation. Also, you could end up attracting married men. Now, this aspect is good for making a lot of money, and it's good for investment income. A partner could be like a child, or a partner has a child already, or they can have a child while they're in a relationship with you. Venus sextile Mars, attracting money through men is possible. This produces a high attractiveness factor. Basically, makes me think of that song by Prince, You Got the Look. You got the look, you got me hooked, sure enough to be cooking in my book. Meeting celebrities, a great sex life. So even though you might be a late bloomer in terms of sex and dating and relationships, this can result in having a great sex life later on down the road. It's good for acting. So you got quite a few aspects in your chart that's really good for acting. So if you want to go the acting route, you want to also consider your options in terms of acting. So you got Broadway, you got Hollywood, you got off Broadway, you got local stage plays. So there's a variety of things. You don't just have to go to Hollywood route. You could do improv at comedy clubs. Good for singing and songwriting. Venus rules the third house. Lucrative licensing deals and artistic collaborations. Venus rules the eighth. Good for distribution deals or having a good distribution deal. That's dealing with Venus ruling the third and the eighth. Venus sextile Mars, again, giving people what they want, generating passive income streams. And that's because Venus rules the third, eighth, and Mars rules the second. Also, this produces a great sense of style, good for being a designer, experiencing the joy of children through relationships. Venus trine Jupiter, like I said, this is a really good aspect. Real quick, we already went over this when we were talking about your chart ruler. Marrying up, long distance love affair, highly creative, eclectic designs, good for being a performer, world renowned, good for acting, wealth aspect, good for sales, marketing, and promotions. It's great for hosting parties, meeting celebrities, investment income, earning money through the lottery or gambling. Venus is running contraparallel to Neptune, so we already went over this too. So it's another aspect that explains why you haven't been in a relationship. Again, passivity is a problem. In danger of being scammed or conned out of money. Yearning for more than what a relationship has to offer. Escapism. Money problems due to being out of work. Self-esteem issues over teeth. Reluctance to take center stage. Shying away from attention. Venus is running parallel to Persephone, and this is a fixed star that deals with inner drive, and it can produce reclusive tendencies. It can also deal with blindness or problems with your eyesight, so you might need glasses. Murder is a possible manifestation, tragedy, fires, violent death, and Persephone is a fixed star that represents homosexuality. So this is one of your homosexual aspects, this is one of the gay aspects in your chart. It can result in being fortunate in business, but it can also make you liable to loss and disgrace. So again, you got to be careful what you do. You don't want to make some hair product like that. What was that one hair product recently? I know you know what I'm talking about. And people started trashing this hair product. They said my hair is falling out. Um, I got bald patches in my hair. My hair has never been so dry. The texture in my hair has totally left me. My edges are gone. What is the name of that brand? Let me know. If y'all in the comment section, let me know what that brand was. It was like hair products. And this came out last year. People were talking, making YouTube videos about this hair product. You don't want to be those people. So you're gonna have to be very careful if you go that route where you're making hair products and stuff. Because you don't want to get end up with a class action lawsuit. All right, so here is your fifth house. As you see, you got Venus hanging out right here. And this is what I'm talking about that conjunction between the sun and Venus. So the sun is in the sixth house, but it's conjoined to Venus in the fifth. So that's what I was talking about right there. And that can produce a passion for health and wellness. But just Venus at the fifth degree of Leo alone can produce a passion for health and wellness. So you asked me, why am I so into health and wellness and drinking water and juicing and doing all this stuff and like making my own products? Well, that's why. That's why you're very health conscious because of that Venus being conjoined to the sun in the sixth. And then you also have your sun in the sixth house, Mercury in the sixth. Then Virgo begins in the sixth. Virgo is reinforcing the themes of the sixth house. And with Mercury being in Leo, that's reinforcing the passion for health. So it's that simple. You got to look to the sixth house, but also include Venus in that fifth house as well. So we're going to do this sixth house, and then we will be coming to the end of part one, and I will be uploading this to YouTube, and I'll be recording part two while uploading part one to YouTube. So you're going to get you're going to see part one uploaded first, and it'll take me a few hours to get part two uploaded. Sixth house. So the sixth house begins at the 10th degree of Leo. That 10th degree of Leo reinforces the Leo themes, albeit in a more dynamic way. Work will be cyclic in nature. Health could be subject to periods of wellness and illness. A car could be in frequent need of repair. I'm going to make me a grilled cheese sandwich. I already figured it out. And I know I'm cheating because it's late at night, but shoot, I'm making an exception tonight because I'm putting in some work. I'm sorry. I just went off on a tangent. All right, let's repeat this. Work could be cyclic in nature. Health could be subject to periods of wellness and illness. A car could be in frequent need of repair. Driving a lover around due to him not having a car. This is why it's important to just don't even tolerate the dusties, the low income, the ones that, they're struggling, the ones where, they can't hold down a job because you'll end up having to tote this person around. A lover who is looking for a free ride or come up. Also, this is good for sales positions since you are good at giving demonstrations and generating interest in what is being sold. So the fact that you were a sales advisor at H&M, this fits into it all day. Good for jobs that enable you to express yourself creatively. You have a need for creative license in the course of performing your duties. Leo in the sixth house cusp is great for working within the entertainment and recreation industries. It is great for event planning, marketing, and promotions. It won't be easy assuming positions of subservience for extended periods of time, since Leo produces a need to be the boss. You may not last long in jobs where you're being micromanaged. Jobs that are not aligned with your passion may not last long. Leo on the sixth house cusp is more conducive to being your own boss than working for someone else, especially since the sun ruler of the sixth house is in Leo. Leo in the sixth house cusp can manifest as disorders and injuries of the spine. Your heart is also vulnerable to disorders. An irregular heartbeat, also known as a heart murmur, could be another possible manifestation of Leo on the sixth house cusp. Work may involve children, or if other factors in your chart apply, you could be easily peeved by petty differences, and children could be a major stressor in your life. Lovers could be major stressors as well. A lover could often be in need of your help. You could end up becoming a lover's caregiver, just as you are a caregiver for your grandchildren. Now, going back to the children, so I'm sure you dealt with some bratty little kids working at H&M. So let me know if you had any bad experiences with some kids running through the store or something, tripping and falling, like losing a tooth or something in the store. Man, I can't stand when people don't have control of their kids at the store. But I'm one to talk because my little Sagittarius son, when he was little, he used to prank me all the time. I would have him in the cart in the front part, and then he'd be like, "Mom," he'd be like, "Can I walk, please?" And I'd be like, "No, if I let you out, you gonna run around the store, and I gotta chase after you." He'd be like, "No, I'm not, Mom. No, I'm not." I would let him out, and he would go ripping through those aisles, and I would have to run and catch him. He would do that to me, and then finally, I got hip to that. I was like, "Nope, you're not getting out of this cart." But yeah, that was just a little. But yeah, let me know if you ran into any issues with some bratty kids at H&M, because they do have a kids department now that I remember. Now, lovers could be major stressors. A lover could often be in need of your help. You could end up becoming a lover's caregiver, just as you are a caregiver with your grandfather. It will be easy for romances to begin in the workplace, and this will especially be the case if your work does not reflect your passion, since you need some passion and excitement in your daily life. Now, the sun, again, it's in the sixth house, it's in Leo. It's at the 10th degree of Leo, which means it's right on the sixth house cusp. And you wanted to know why you're all into health and stuff? That's the reason why. That's one of the main reasons why. That 10th degree compounds the themes of Leo, explains why you have a desire to be an actor. Life is subject to cycles of ups and downs, growth and stagnation, major gains, but also substantial losses, can derive benefits through your associations. It's the come up degree. So this can result in benefiting through the success of others and people who have come before you, people taking you under their wing, showing you the ropes, and just benefiting through who you know. Also, this augments the creative energy of Leo. Mobility, travel, cars, transportation is a major theme of that 10th degree. Hell, you might need to get chauffeured around and stuff until you get a car. Let me know if you have a car or if you're dependent upon someone to drive you around with that. You got Mercury in the sixth, and you got the sun at the 10th degree of Leo in the sixth house. That can deal with where you do need help getting rides. So while I was talking about that lover, it could be you right now. Now, in terms of a lover, though, once you get up and going, like up and running in terms of like your business or your career, if you don't choose right, you could choose that ne'er do well lover that's always in need of your help, always in need of a ride. Can you pick me up for work? That type of stuff. Now, the Leo sun produces a bold, confident, and courageous spirit. Leo is the sign of the star, the performer, the celebrity, and the monarch. Leo is also a natural leader. As a result, you don't do well when you have to be subservient to others. Warm, sunny, and vibrant character. Leo's smile can light up a room, and you are most likely no exception. Leo likes to make people happy. You are very creative. Part of your purpose as a Leo is to distinguish yourself through creative expression. You are called to be a star in your own right. Passionate and competitive spirit. Leo strives to be a winner. You are not too keen on playing second fiddle. There's a need to be at the center of attention, but the Leo sun also produces a tendency to be very self-conscious at the same time. Also, as a Leo, you strive to live life to the fullest. Also, you desire an active lifestyle. Leo has a need to perform, which is the reason why this sign excels in sales positions. Leo is one of the signs that rules athleticism, so you may have played at least one sport during your school age years. You may desire to engage in some form of physical activity as an adult. A life without recreation and entertainment is really no life at all for Leo. Love, sex, and romance are extremely important to Leo as well. Leo is typically not happy being without a romantic or sex partner for extended periods of time. But again, like I say, you got plenty of time to get into the love game. Stylish individual who has a taste for the finer things in life. Leo's the sign of the risk taker and gambler. Dark-sided tendencies include egotism, narcissism, bossiness, vanity, jealousy, obstinance, naivete, shallowness, being overly dramatic, domineering, and territorial, as well as attention-seeking behavior. Now, if some of this doesn't apply to you, you could project this onto a man that you're dating or a man that you're married to. Your father might display some of these traits as well. Now, Leo has great potential to inflict physical harm upon others out of anger. Leo rules the heart and back, so these areas of the body may require special attention at some point. Leo also rules children, fathers, and men of significance, so these themes will be extra pronounced throughout your life. Sun conjunct Mercury. This can produce a passion for learning about health, especially in terms of increasing vitality and prolonging life. Creating your own grooming product line. Good for training or instructing others. Demonstrating expertise. Taking pride in the knowledge that you have acquired, especially in terms of health and wellness topics. Professional credentials. So you could be gaining some credentials. Mind is too influenced by the ego, so you could have a hard time accepting criticism. This can keep you from putting your creations out to the public. Sun sextile Mars is a very positive aspect. It can result in attracting good-looking men through your line of work. Finding a mate through a matchmaking service, or you could say one of those dating sites, perhaps, or through like a meetup group, some social event, because Mars is in the 7th. Marriage is possible, because Mars is in Libra. Creating grooming supplies, products being in high demand, good for being an actor, doing impersonations, possessing star quality, meeting celebrities, providing services to celebrities. Also with Sun sextile Mars, physical attractiveness and appeal, good for counseling and training, good for providing consultations, a good team leader, sales advisor position at H&M. Sun sesqui square Saturn, we already went through this, so real quick, this is the dissolution of your masculine energy, lacking the confidence due to the underbite, fear, and criticism, challenges with becoming fully independent, lacking close relationship with a father. Being a caregiver for your grandfather can be used as an excuse for not going after your ambitions, challenges with realizing your ambitions, attracting friends who are moochers who take advantage of your generosity, back problems, especially in terms of a slip disc. And that's especially the case because your sun is in the 6th house. Sun semi-square Chiron, not being fully integrated in your father's life. Father may need your help later in life, and this could create some consternation within you. You could attract men who are broken. A partnership could lack consistency, can be too critical of the self, being overly focused on health and hygiene, can project hypercritical nature onto partner. Problems accepting self as is. You might feel like there's always something that can be improved about yourself. No one may ever be good enough for you. With Sun parallel Vesta, part of the reason why you haven't been in a relationship yet, you are saving yourself for someone who is worthy of your love and affection, and this can deal with repressing sexual desires. It's also a caregiver aspect. But again, because let me fix this because it's driving me crazy. Hold on. Let me fix that real quick. And I didn't mean to stop share. I could have just let me hit escape. Here it is. I didn't have the bullet points on the animation thing right. So let me hit none and then fly back in because that was driving me crazy. All right, so let me share my screen again. All right. My bad. So again, Sun parallel Vesta. So this is part of the reason why you haven't been in a relationship yet. You are saving yourself for someone who is worthy of your love and affection. This can deal with repressing sexual desires. It can also be a caregiver aspect, or it is. And again, this could be part of the reason, like how I was saying, how you could use being your grandfather's caregiver, because you said you and your mother are both your grandfather's caregiver. So you got to ask yourself, does she really need your help? Maybe she really does. But then there might come a point where you might have to step away from that in order to pursue your aspiration. The sun is conjoined to the fixed star Geonsar, and this can deal with having a penetrating and analytical mind. You could do a lot of travel, have many friends. It can deal with, having a craft, ingenuity, and valor, but also it puts you at danger of robbery and accidental poisoning. Sun parallel diadem. So diadem is a fixed star that can deal with being suave, well-bred, having personal charm, but it also deals with dissipation. It produces dramatic ability, so that basically is dealing with acting ability. And diadem can deal with things that you wear in your hair, either hair pieces, hair clips, like certain like barrettes or bobby pins, or like a hair band or a hat or some type of tiara or something. Mercury is in Leo and it's in the sixth house. Is at the 16th degree of Leo that reflects your life path number. Also, your ascendant being at the 16th degree of Pisces. So that 16th degree of Leo is good for acting and modeling. It can also cause you to be too idealistic, however. It's good for chemistry, making products, working with chemicals and other ingredients that can produce some type of, potion or lotion or some type of cream, oils. Can be easily duped or fooled. Misunderstandings, words becoming misconstrued, problems with transportation. So you could have a car that's always breaking down. That can also put you at risk for falling asleep at the wheel. Now, when Mercury is in Leo, the mind is always concocting creative schemes. Leo is a fixed sign, so it's easy to get stuck on a certain train of thought or perspective. You could be quite rigid in terms of your thinking, and at times you could be downright prejudiced. You are not one to sit still for long, allowing life to pass you by. Now, that prejudiced nature that can come with Mercury and Leo, that's very much counteracted by you being a Pisces rising, but Mercury is in quincunx to your Pisces ascendant. So you could struggle with that between being um, having that inclusive approach to life and also being a little prejudiced. Now, you are also not one to sit still for long, allowing life to pass you by. You are independent of mindset, but sometimes you could be naive, having an innate cocky streak. You need positive feedback from others in order to remain motivated. You need an audience as you speak to be heard. You take much pride in your knowledge, skills, and abilities. You may sometimes be a show off when it comes to what you know or what you can do. Leo rules the ego, so your mind is largely a slave to it if you are not the evolved sort. You do not take criticism well. Pride may keep you from admitting that you need help. On the other hand, you are very generous towards others, especially your loved ones. You most likely are very protective over your siblings. Mercury in Leo brings a need for plenty of recreation and entertainment. When Mercury is in Leo, there is a tendency to be bossy and domineering. Mercury in Leo is not above vulgarity either. There is a need to temper the fire within you at times in order to avoid unnecessary drama. You do not thrive amid chaotic conditions. Being a leader within your local community, such as being in charge of a block cleanup or neighborhood watch, are natural functions of Mercury and Leo, especially because Mercury is co-ruler of your third house. So that's perfect for, giving back and doing positive things within your community. The sixth house placement of Mercury is good for manufacturing your own products. It can result in a high degree of skill. A lot of mental focus is placed upon health and wellness. Mercury in Leo brings a need for training if you want to be an actor. So going to acting school, that seems like it's going to be necessary. Also, you could be part of the Screen Actors Guild, as I said before. Oh, not again. Oh, well. So Mercury is conjoined to the asteroid Ceres. This can deal with mixing ingredients, creating concoctions, but it also results in being in danger of being poisoned or spellbound. So again, remember what I said about somebody could cast a spell on you? That could happen when Mercury could join the Circe. Mercury is running parallel to Hyadum, but forget about that because I realized that it's a different fixed star. So I meant to take that one out of here. Matter of fact, let me fix that right quick. Let me get rid of that. Because there's two Hyadums, and I realized that that's not the one that is in contact with your chart. I mean, that one is not in contact with your chart. All right, and let me fix this animation thingy. Which means that before I do part 2, I gotta go through this and make sure that it's these bullet points are gonna be working right. Because that was ugly the way that happened. All right. Mercury is also parallel to diadem, and I already spoke about diadem dealing with being suave, well-bred, displaying personal charm, but it also deals with dissipation. So dissipation means that things just dissipate. So that could deal with maybe a car or something. I'm not really sure. Dramatic ability, so again, acting ability and hair adornment. And then, but that can also deal with just making the hair products. Actually, when you think about it, because diadem basically just deals with something that you're putting in the hair or on the hair. Mercury is running parallel to Vesta, and this deals with being a caregiver for your grandfather, but it could be tempting to use this as an excuse to not pursue your goals. Because Vesta often deals with where you're working and you're using the work as an excuse to avoid certain things in life. So here's your sixth house, the sun and Mercury. You also have a bunch of Virgo energy. You have 16 degrees of Virgo in the sixth house. So that's reinforcing the health theme. As I said before, the health theme and the help theme, both of those are dealing with that sixth house energy. So we've come to the end of part 1, and I'll be posting part 2 shortly. So thank you for your patience, and I will be back very soon with part 2.